Okay, Clint, here's the lineup. I like to use these 7-inch ribbon tail worms, and my two favorite colors I like to use at this time of year are black with red fleck and blue with light blue fleck. And the way I like to fish them, actually I've had a lot of luck off this black one today. I caught about 3 on that one alone. The way I like to fish them is either I'll Texas rig it or I'll use a jig. This is a black football jig. Probably would look better on the black one, but just for demonstration. And you can look on YouTube and see exactly how to rig those two. You know, just basic, put one on a jig head, and then the Texas rig is a pretty interesting technique if you don't know about it. Look on YouTube and you'll learn exactly how to do it. Another thing I like to use is all this stuff you could get from Walmart, by the way. This is called a swimming super fluke. It's got the paddle tail. Some of them don't have that. This one in particular I like to use because it sends a lot of vibration through the water. And basically it's in the smoking shad pattern, which is a pretty good one to use if you're fishing clear water because it resembles natural forage. I like to rig that with one of these. It's like a 2-aught or 3-aught EWG hook, but it has the weight on the bottom. So the way you would want to do that is before you tie the hook on the line, you want to run the hook tip through the front of the bait and bring it back out, and then take the hook out completely, and then just run the back end of the hook through the hole you made in the front, and then basically Texas rig this once again, this part where you're going to put it up through there and then bury it through the back so it's weedless. And that way you have that weight there, and you can just sit there and cast it straight out and reel it straight in towards you at a slow medium speed, and every now and then give it like a couple jerks. That works real well. Another one I like to use, I like to throw this by a lot of logs and any kind of brush that's in the area, is they call it either a shimmy stick or a Cinco. It's in the same pattern as that smoking shad because it resembles a shad. I like to wacky rig it. I got these wacky rig hooks that I bought from Walmart too. Basically go on YouTube once again and look up wacky rig, and they'll show you exactly how to do it. But I like to wacky rig it with no weight and just toss it in at the whatever structure you're fishing, and just let it sink down to the bottom, let it sit for a little bit, and then slowly bring your rod tip up to about your 10 o'clock position, and then on semi-tight line let it sink back down at its normal sink rate. Bass love that shit. It's awesome. You could use one of these Kermes toads. They're made by Zoom, and these are really good for top water. You just cast it out and reel it in at a medium speed. These back legs will kick up water. It kind of acts like a buzzbait. I don't have a buzzbait right now, but if you go to Walmart, pick up a buzzbait and see if you could get one with a black skirt. Those work really well too. Basically, for the soft plastics, like you would Texas rig or use the jig, you can also use a river bug, which is one of my favorite things. Like if you're bed fishing and you see bass spawning in certain areas, you could flip and pitch one of these things into their bed and just let it sit and give it a good wiggle every now and then. They'll tear that shit apart. Another one is to do the same things. This is just called like a creature bait. It's black and blue. This works really well. And this is it's another form of creature bait, but it's called a brush hog. This thing works pretty good too. It's deadly. That's a good color. It's watermelon red. But all that you could use Texas rigged or with a jig head. Now to get to my favorite ones, I like to use crankbaits. I had a lot of luck on this today too. This is in the gizzard shad pattern, and if you notice it's a square bill. That thing's deadly. Get the square bill. And I always clip the very front hook off of the treble hook, so that way when you're reeling it, it doesn't grab branches and leaves and shit. It makes it a lot easier. Basically just tie that on, cast it out at a medium speed, reel it straight into you, let it dig into the bottom, and then every now and then just stop it, let it sink up a little, let it float up a little, and then start reeling again until it goes to the bottom. And keep repeating that until it gets back to your recast, blah blah blah. Bass love that. Bass love this spinner bait too. It's called a War Eagle. It's in the mouse color. I just say like smoking shad. It's pretty much the same as these. That works really well. You'll notice a trend with that color. That's a good color to use this time of year. Also notice the blades. They have what's called an Indiana style blade right here and a Colorado style, and one's silver and one's gold. It's a good, well balanced thing to use. It gives off a lot of vibration and flash. So tie that on, cast it straight out, reel it straight in towards you. Stop it every now and then for like a split second, let it flutter down, and then like just jerk it back up and keep reeling it. You'll catch a lot that way. Walmart has 3 clearance boxes on the end cap, and they have a bunch of these in there for $1.50. It's called a hula popper. Cast that straight out and let it sit on the surface and give it some jerks. As it goes forward, that thing's going to pop up some water and make a lot of noise. Don't do it too fast. Do it real slow. Like pop, pop, pop. Let it sit for a little bit. Pop, pop, pop. Let it sit for a little bit. And just keep doing that, and you'll probably catch a lot that way. It doesn't really matter what color you use on that. I like to use one that has more darkness on the belly because that's really what they see when they come up after it. So this is another crankbait. Looks like a crayfish. I like to use that anytime you're fishing in water that's more than 10 foot deep. This thing will dive all the way down to the bottom, dig in there, and they love that shit. So that's the basic lineup really for this time of year, because they're either spawning right now or they've just finished. So these are really the best lures to use at this point in time. All that stuff you could get from Walmart, and just have fun, dude. Send me some pictures of what you catch.